This week on Jersey Matters, will New Jersey see the long lines at the gas stations that other states are suffering because of that pipeline cybersecurity breach? We asked Michael Geraghty, Cybersecurity Director for New Jersey. A hiring crisis is brewing at the Jersey Shore. Businesses are open, but the employees aren't coming back. The annual summer beach sweep at the Jersey Shore finds some unusual items. And vinyl is back and bigger than ever. We'll take you to two of the most popular record stores in New Jersey. Hello and welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. We begin with that cyber attack on pipelines that serve New Jersey and a dozen other states. Here's my interview with Michael Geraghty, Chief Information Security Officer for New Jersey. Sir, thanks for spending the time. We now have what's amounting to a crisis on the East Coast and down south. It may be a gas crisis coming up because pipelines were affected by a cyber attack. And I guess let me start with the question I think most people are asking. How could this happen?
So there's a lot of ways that it can happen, and you know, cybersecurity is very complex, and you can't defend against every threat vector that's out there. So there's a number of different ways that ransomware gets into a system, and we talk about some of the main ones. Obviously, phishing emails, as we've heard before, where there's an attachment that is malicious. There may be vulnerabilities in externally facing, hardware or software, those types of things, and there may be credential compromise, and those are all vectors that threat actors can access. A pipeline, just like Colonial or any other type of organization. So they're common threat vectors that we see on an everyday basis.
Yeah, when I say how could this happen, I don't mean the mechanics of it. I mean a pipeline is so important. The power grid is so important. There are things that are important to our national security. I would think the Colonial Pipeline would be one of those things. Is the government not protecting these entities? Is it all done privately?
The government provides some protection, but it's really up to private sector organizations to protect their own networks. It's a little bit different when we talk about physical attacks. So if there was another country that was to launch a bomb into the United States, obviously the government protects against those things. But cyber attacks are very hard to protect against because while we can maybe attribute this to a Russian threat actor group, that Russian threat actor group may be working from computer systems inside the United States, and we wouldn't see that if we were just looking for foreign attacks.
That's a little frightening that you're saying that cyber attacks are very difficult to stop. Is the government prepared for this?
I think we've all been working together, and I think we have a long way to go before we're very effective. And it's just the nature of the internet. It was never, invented to be secure. And obviously, as we attach more and more to it and more threat actors take advantage of the vulnerabilities that are part of the internet and networking, we're going to see more of these types of attacks and more of them that will have real world impacts.
What do you know about this group that's behind this attack?
So it's a group called the Dark Side, and I want to say it's not just one group. Dark Side is ransomware as a service. So there are threat actors that gain access into a network, and they may buy the ransomware as a service from this Dark Side group so that they can now place ransomware on that impacted network. So there's various groups that sell services out there on the dark web and these illicit type services. So just to say it's one group is not fair. There's a consortium of them out there, almost like terrorists that work in individual cells. One may not know what the other is doing. The bomb makers may not know who's planting the bomb. Same thing happening here with cybersecurity, with individual groups doing different attacks against networks.
So when the president says that there is no evidence that Russia is behind this, even though this is allegedly a Russian group, You see evidence of that, though? You believe that's true?
I don't know at this point, and I think there's still more information that has to come out, and I don't want to speculate. Are we saying it's a nation state actor that is sponsored by Russia? I don't think the president is saying that. I don't think anybody's jumped into that conclusion. Criminal groups, operating in Russia or any other country can carry out these attacks just like they were here in New Jersey or down in Atlanta, Georgia, where this is happening. It's the locally ubiquitous nature of the internet that you can carry out attacks from anywhere, and you don't have to be a nation state. You do not have to have all those resources to carry out these types of attacks.
I do want to point out, when you say ransomware, you mean there is a ransom that is being demanded.
So the fundamentals behind ransomware is that malware infects your computer networks and it encrypts the data on the network. And in order for that victim to get access back to their data, the encryption key, if you will, they have to pay a ransom to the threat actor. As ransomware has evolved over the years, we're now seeing double type of extortion attempts, where not only is the data being encrypted on the network, but also data is being exfiltrated or taken out of the network and held hostage by those threat actors who say that they're going to release it publicly. So you may have great controls in place where you can recover from a ransomware attack by restoring backups, but you still don't want that sensitive information posted publicly. And so the ransomware groups are evolving and making it double and triple extortion type of attempts to make sure they get paid.
Have you been in contact with the feds and with all of the other people in other states?
Yes, we've been working together, federal, state, and private sector partners here in New Jersey, monitoring the situation as it's happening, also making sure that we're mitigating any collateral impacts to New Jersey and mitigating any risks that we have here.
What is going to happen in New Jersey now? Do you know?
So what is going to happen? We continue to be active in monitoring the situation, making sure the supply chain is not interrupted here, making sure that we've got supplies. And right now it looks like we're in pretty good shape. And projections are by the end of this week that the pipeline will be up and running and we'll have de minimis impact here. But down south, as you said, they're already feeling some of the impacts with the supply chain for gasoline.
Well, that's good to know. This was really a wake-up call, wasn't
it? I hope so. I hope it gets the public's attention that it's not just some cyber, incident that's impacting, one organization. As I said before, this is one of those events where the impacts are being felt by the public, and it's having real world impacts on their lives.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, as always. Michael Geraghty, Chief Information Security Officer for New Jersey. Still to come on Jersey Matters, a police officer is fired after posting that Black Lives Matter are terrorists. We'll speak with her attorney next.